Welcome to North Sun Tabletop Games. Today we're going to take a look at the Sentinel Comics RPG, specifically how to create a character using the Sentinel Comics role-playing game. We're going to go through and do their guided setup to create a superpowered hero. So you will need a couple of dice for this, a D4, D6, D8, D10, and D12. You do not need a D20 for this game, so if you have extra dice laying around, feel free to grab those. You want to grab your character sheet. We'll go ahead and grab a character sheet for the game. And if you have their Sentinel Comics game moderator kit, it comes with a big thick tablet of character sheets to make heroes. Let's see. So we got a character sheet, pencil, the book. So let's open it up and see what's the first thing that we do. So guided setup, step 1, background. So what you do is you go ahead and roll up your character's background. You get 2 D10s. So let's get those D10s out. You roll these up and then we'll see what we get for our background. So we got a 2, a 8, and you can also use the total. So 2, 8, or 10 are the options that we can pick by using the guided setup. So that means our background can be blank slate. For 8, it could be tragic, or for 10, it could be military. So depending on what background we get, that'll give us our dice pool for our next selection. So blank slate, we'd get a D10 and 2 D8s. Tragic, we'd get 2 D10s and a D6. And military, we'd get a D10 and 2 D8s. So all the backgrounds have different power levels. Each hero can contribute differently, but basically a D12 is for a power is like godlike, very strong, expert. D6 is above average, and then it just kind of goes up through there for the different dice levels. So let's see. Let's go with maybe we'll do tragic. So let's go with the tragic background and see how that works. So that says go to page 51. We're going to look on our character sheet. Has a place here to put background. So we're going to put tragic. And then we'll go to page 51. All right. Guided setup. It walks you through making the tragic character. So it says assign a D10 and a D8 to 2 of these qualities. So banter, close combat, imposing, or select a quality from mental. So I think what we'll go with, I think we are going to go with tragic is giving me, just check 2 D10s and a D6 for my powers. So D10 and D8. So let's go with close combat. Close combat. We're going to pick that. And then let's go with imposing. So right now this guy is shaping up to be a Batman. And then in the quality section, you put the die that you're going to use. So do we want him to be better at fighting or more imposing? So I think let's give him a D10 in close combat and then a D8 in imposing. Now it says choose an ideal principle, page 131 to 134. And it gives us a little color description of what the tragic is. The tragic background is your history is eclipsed by a major negative event that shaped the rest of your life. You struggle to overcome the memory of the tragic event, be it the loss of a loved one or something that happened to you directly. Either way, the tragedy both fuels and haunts you. That gives you a little flavor for when you're trying to come up with more aspects of your character. So let's go to, he has ideal principles. So that's page 131 to 134. Let's see what ideals we can get. So ideals are kind of like the trait. It's kind of like what your hero stands for, his major beliefs. So we got chaos, compassion, defender, Let's go ahead and principle of dependence. There's multiple ones. And in this game, each of these principles will have twists. There's major twists and minor twists, and those are different things that can impact your character during roleplay. So I think let's go with the principle of justice. So that is what we're going to select for his principle. So we'll go back to the character sheet, principle of, we'll put justice in here. Piece of cake. During roleplay, you are always aware of acts of injustice in your environment and those who have committed them. Minor twists, how are you taking extra time to show yourself as a shining example of justice? And the major twist could be, how do you unnerve your allies in your single-minded pursuit of justice? And then he's going to get his principal power. So this is the principle of justice. The A means it's an action. Overcome, to stop an act of injustice in progress and use your max die. So this game has, you can take actions and you can do overcome actions on your turn. So basically, if you're not attacking and you're doing an overcome action, which is kind of like making a making some type of roll to kind of stop an event or to overcome an issue, you would use this principle of justice. And if you do, you and each of your allies gains a hero point. And a hero point is just like a reward. It's like a bonus you can get during the game to kind of help you get better die rolls to assist you with different actions. So we'll go back to our character sheet under abilities, and it has two little spots here for the two principles. So one of our character's principles is the principle of justice. And we'll just put it's an action. And then we'll put overcome, and I'll just pick page 133. So we'll say overcome. And then those details are on page 133. So right now we've got a tragic hero. He's good at fighting. He's imposing. He believes in justice. He tries to stop all injustice, but he can get a little bit too overzealous. That's what he's shaping up to be. Okay, and then let's go back to the tragic background and see what that next step was. Okay, so we chose an ideal principle. So now we get to roll 2d10s and a d6 for power source selection. So let's grab our 2d10s and our d6. And we'll go to power source selection. So next up, we have the power source quick reference table. We are going to roll these, and just like before, we can take the result of a die, so the result of any one of these die, or the result of any two of them added together. So let's see what we get. We have a 10, an 8, and a 5. So we can use 5, 8, 10, or 18, or 15, or 13. Okay. So those are the ones that we rolled. So let's just start and look at these. So we've got mystical. We've got powered suit. Tech upgrades. 15 is genius. 18 is unknown. And let's see, 8 plus 5, 19, 13. Cursed. So we have a lot of different combinations that we can choose for his power source. Let's see, what do we want? Do we want mystical? Do we want a power suit? It could be a power suit. Or it could be tech upgrades. Let's go with genius, inventions, robotics, signature vehicle, signature weaponry, any intellectual. Interesting. And he could be a genius. Then he starts to kind of turn into a Batman type guy. Let's go with, maybe we go with tech upgrades. So let's go ahead and select number 10. for his power. Tech upgrades, and that is on page 64. So we'll go to 64. All right. Assign all the dice you rolled at the end of the background step to any of the following powers. So that means the 3 dice that we rolled, the 2 d10s and the d6, can be assigned to any of these weapons, to any of these powers. So signature vehicle, weaponry, something from the athletics power category, elemental power, intellectual, mobility power, or technology powers. Okay, so basically 3 things. So let's take a look at some of these items. So a signature vehicle, that would be something like the Batmobile or, Ghost Rider's motorcycle. Signature weaponry, the same thing. Wolverine's claws, Captain America's shield. You could probably batarangs, knives. It can be anything like that. Or anything that you make up. But those are examples of what those items would encompass. So we could go with athletics powers. But there's some reason in the back. Athletics is agility, speed, strength, vitality. And it kind of gives you descriptions of each one of those. Elemental powers. Those are different energy forms like cold, cosmic, electricity, things of that nature. You can go with intellectual, awareness, deduction, intuition. All right, so let's make our low budget Batman clone and see what we can do. So we would probably take a D10, let's see, athletics, strength, reflexes. I think we'll take agility. And then we can also take from intellectual. We can take, what was the intellectual power? Deduction. Okay, so let's go with that. So these powers, we'll get the character sheet back out. Tech upgrades was the power source that we selected. So on the characteristic sheet, we should do tech upgrades for the power source. Tech upgrades. And then, let's see. The power we're going to select. So actually with tech upgrades, let's go ahead for athletic and pick strength. So maybe he has something in his suit that's technologically advanced that kind of augments his strength. And then we're going to do deduction because we want him to be able to solve crimes. And then what could the third one be? Let's take a look at technological powers category. Let's see what's in technological powers. Technological. Let's see, it's got gadgets, inventions, power suit, and robotics. And it feels like we have to go with gadgets. All right, so let's go with gadgets. And there we have it. That's his 3 powers. So then we have 2 D10s and a D6. So let's see. I think we want him to rely more on his deduction and his gadgets. So we'll give a D10 to that, D10 to gadgets. Maybe his strength modification doesn't make him super strong, just above average human strength. So we'll put a 6 in strength. Okay. Piece of cake. Again, it kind of walks you through what to do. So next thing you're doing is gain 2 of these yellow abilities, each using a different power. So 2 yellow abilities. Let's see. Let me just go back and make sure. I hope I didn't skip any green abilities. Did I? Tragic, blah, blah, blah. Nope, just the principal. Okay, yeah, I have not skipped anything. Okay, so it looks like we can pick 2 of these 4. So we've got energy burst, we've got recharge, techno absorb, and tactical analysis. So tactical analysis, that's a reaction when attacked. Treat the amount of damage you take as a boost action for yourself. And we could do energy burst, attack multiple targets using a power, use your min die against each, or recharge, boost yourself using a power, then either remove a penalty on yourself or recover using your min die. Okay, let's go with a yellow ability. So we're gonna go with energy burst, and we'll put that in the yellow. The icon is a fist, that means it's an attack, so type A. And one of the things that they encourage you to do is to rename the abilities for yourself. So maybe instead of energy burst, since I'm going to assign my gadgets power to this, so I'm just going to put gadgets over here so I know that's the power I used with the little fist. We'll just call it gadget burst or something, right? Like if it was Batman, it could be batarangs. A ninja-based character, it could be some kind of shurikens or whatever it's going to be, and then you could change the power. So I'm using the gadget power because it says use a different power for each. So that means whatever the next yellow thing I pick, I can't use gadgets again. Because when you're rolling to do something in the game, you create a dice pool based off of these numbers. So you would take one from your power, one from your quality, and one from the status. And whatever those dice are, you would roll. And then on average, you take the middle die. So for example, let's just say this was a 3 and a 5. So 3 would be the minimum die, 5 would be the mid die, and 6 would be your max die. And typically you use the mid die. There are some things that let you use the minimum die, some things that let you use the max, some that let you use a combination of both. And that's how you would do tests in attack, defend, or do overcome actions to try to resolve an issue. So we're going to go with gadget burst, which is an attack. And then we'll go with tactical analysis, which is a reaction that gives him a boost. So tactical, and this is on page 64. And normally, we're going fast just so you guys can kind of see how it works. But normally you can just fill out the details. And this would be like damage turns into boost, right? Turns into boost. So yeah, one of the other gameplay elements of this game is it has boosts and hinders. So boosts give you dice bonus to rolls, and hinders give you dice penalties to rolls. So you can typically boost your own abilities or hinder the bad guys, and they can do the same thing themselves. Boost themselves or hinder you, which would give you a penalty. Okay, so we've got our yellow abilities there. And the green, yellow, and red correspond to the status, but we'll get into that later. Next, it says gain a green ability. I can have indiscriminate fabrication, boost using a power, assign your mid, and max dice to 3 different bonuses, one of which must be given to an enemy. And then there's an organic hack. Attack a target using power. Hinder that target with your min die. So let's see. I can either boost myself. Let's see. Indiscriminate fabrication. It's a boost. I would have to use strength or deduction. Attack a target and hinder that target with your min die. Maybe we use organic hack and call it power fist or something. So this gives us an attack and a hinder. So we're going to call it, instead of organic hack, since we just have strength, we have some type of like power gloves. So we'll call it power gloves. It's got the fist icon meaning an attack, and then like a down arrow meaning it hinders. It's an attack. And this is going to use our strength power. All right, and there we have it. We've got our initial power setup for our Batman-like character. It looks like that's what he's turning out to be. Next up is roll a d10 and 2d8s for archetype. So let's see what we get for that. So we'll get a D10 out and 2 D8s. And we'll go to the archetype selection. All right, so archetype selection should be the next few pages in the book. So archetypes, this is how we use our powers, basically. So there's things like speedster, shadow, physical powerhouse, marksman. This is kind of defines how your character uses the power. So you might have two heroes with the exact same powers, but different archetypes, so they use them differently. So again, we go to the dice pool. So we had a D10 and 2 D8s. We can use any combination of what's on the die or any 2 dice together. So we had a 1, 2, a 7. So that's going to end up being 1, 2, 7, or 3, or 8, or 9. So you really have a lot of selections. So 1 is a speedster. No. 2 is a shadow. You do need stealth for that. Signature weaponry qualities, that one could be good. 3 is physical powerhouse. We already have strength. That could be good. Let's see. 7 is armored. 8 is flyer. 9 is elemental manipulator. And I think that's it. And I think for guided, it's giving you the suggestions. If we did the, I can't think of the name they use, but you could also just step through this and pick if you wanted to build somebody custom. But I think for now, let's go with Shadow. Because he is the knight. So his archetype will be Shadow. And that says the principle is expertise. Go to page 74. Shadow, we are right there. All right, so assign one of the die you rolled at the end of the power source step to the stealth quality. If you already have stealth, either skip it or swap the die with one of your new dice. So we do not have stealth, so we'll go ahead and add stealth. And we have to add one of these dice, so either the D8 or the D10. So we'll go ahead and give a D8 for that. You know what? Actually, let's give him a D10 in stealth. Let's give him the D10. Now assign any number of the remaining dice to any of the following powers: intangibility, invisibility, signature weaponry, or something from athletics. All right. And assign any remaining dice to any of these qualities. So I can pick up to 2 powers or qualities. So let's see, what do we want to do? It's either going to be select something from the athletics power category. So he's already got strength. So maybe what we do is, maybe we just give him agility as well. Yeah, let's give him agility. We won't think too hard about it. We're just trying to show. So that's 1. So I could then assign the last D8 to another power, or I can assign one to a quality. So let me look up the physical qualities again. Physical qualities. We've got acrobatics, close combat, finesse, fitness, range combat, and stealth. Let's go ahead and give him a D8 in ranged combat. And that way, when he's throwing his gadgets, he's not at a disadvantage if he's just in close. Okay. So we completed that. Now we gain 2 of these green abilities, each using a different power or quality from the shadow list. All right. So these powers have to all be from like the things we just picked: stealth, range combat, agility, one of these items. So we got sabotage, attack using a power or quality, remove 1 physical bonus, penalty, hinder a target. We've got shadowy figure, defend using your min die. Okay. So let's go with attack and defend because he doesn't have any defend ones here. So we'll go with shadowy figure. Shadowy figure. It has the little fist for the attack and a shield for defend. It's an action, and we are going to use stealth for that. And then he has untouchable when it's a reaction. When you will be dealt damage, roll a d4 while in the green zone, d8 while in the yellow. Reduce the damage you take by the value rolled. Okay, so let's... We don't have to assign a power for that. I think we'll get sabotage using agility. Remove one physical bonus or penalty, hinder a target using your min die, or maneuver to a new location in your environment. So let's do that. Yep, let's do that. So let's do sabotage for his second green ability. And that would have an attack and a hinder action, and it's going to use agility. And then we will be able to do those different things. That's on page 74. And what we would do is, since it's using agility, maybe we change it to, like, you know, some type of a kick attack or leg sweep, or, you know, some power name that fits with his agility actions. Then we gain one of the yellow abilities, diversion. When you would take damage, defend against the damage by rolling your single power quality die, or overcome from the darkness, attack or overcome using a power quality. So I think we'll go with diversion. And we will use his imposing quality. That's a reaction. We'll use imposing. And that's page 74. And instead of diversion, maybe we call it intimidate. So when he's going to take damage, maybe he just toughs it out, shakes it off. Yeah, actually, maybe shake it off is a better name. But yeah, that's going to be his reaction. So we've got our green abilities, our yellow abilities. Now it says choose an expertise principle. Okay, so we're going to go to the expertise principles and choose one of those. So we already have principle of justice. So we know that he's focused on righting wrongs that are done. Then we've got expertise. These principles are all about being good at stuff. So what do we think he's good at? Clockwork, gearhead, history, indestructible, the lab, principle of mastery. You have thoroughly studied your own powers and are proud of your mastery of them. You okay? Principle of the mentor, principle of the powerless. You value training and hard work over enhanced abilities. You understand how to get things done without powers and how to exploit flaws in powered individuals. Well, you know what? If that don't sound like something our fake Batman would have, let's go with that one. Principle of the powerless. We're going to put principle of the powerless here. That is an attack. Action. Use your knowledge of the limitations of superpowers in an overcome action and use your max die. You and each of your allies gain a hero point. All right, and this is on page 129. So if that comes up, I can narratively think of a way that my hero is going to try to figure out a way to stop it. In minor twist, what temporary injury did you just suffer? Major twist, what more serious injury did you suffer? And on the front of the character sheet, we'll write principle of powerless. And you would just fill out this during role play. It's telling you during role play, you understand how to, like, the powers work and how to exploit flaws in powers. And same for justice. During role play, you're always looking to right the wrongs, but you may be overzealous. You would fill that out. And then the minor twist and the major twist, when you're making the overcome roll and you're using your principles, if you don't completely succeed on the roll, sometimes you have major twists or minor twists. So in this case, if you don't succeed, you get a minor twist, and it is recommending a temporary injury, a minor injury, right? And this one is recommending a major injury. So as an example, maybe you're fighting some superpowered villain. You succeed on the overcome action. Everybody gets a hero point. But the minor twist is he still manages to like hit you or throw you against the wall, or he like snaps your arm or something like that. So you succeed, but at a cost. And then you would be hindered or have some penalty if you don't outright succeed. Okay, now we are just about to the end of making our hero. Next up, it says roll for your personality selection. So we're going to get 2 D10s, and then we'll go to the personality section. So let's see. Personality. All right, step 4, personality. Your personality is your general demeanor. It also mechanically reflects how you react when under pressure, represented by your status die, and how your presence affects other heroes. All right, so let's see what we get for this one. So personalities, we got a 1 and a 4, so we can do 1, 4, or 5. So we got 1, which is lone wolf, 4, which is mischievous, and 5, which is sarcastic. I mean, it's going to be lone wolf, right? That's what we have to go with. So lone wolf on page 101. Make up a quality based on your hero's backstory and assign a D8 to it. So we get to add a quality with a D8. So what do we want this guy to be? Let's see. Close combat, imposing, stealth, ranged combat. Let's give him, we'll say his quality is determined. We'll make up one that's called determined. And we'll put a D8 in that. And then for our status die, we get all D8s. So for green status die, he gets a D8. Yellow, he gets a D8. Red, he gets a D8. So that means whether things are calm or things are in the extreme, he keeps an even head. He's level-headed. Out ability. So if you get knocked out in this game, he can boost an ally by rolling your single quality die. So let's see. He can roll his determined die. So roll determined to boost. And that would be a D8. Then choose 2 red abilities from the list in the next section. All right, so choose 2 red abilities in the list from the next section. Red abilities. Choose 2. And it doesn't say anything too specific, so it looks like I can pick anything. Athletic powers, elemental powers, hallmark, intellectual materials. They're grouped by power and quality, but not just for convenience. You have to have a die assigned to a power or quality in that category to pick it. So let's see. Mobility powers, psychic, technology powers. I think technology had gadgets. I'm pretty sure. Information, mental, physical. We had bucket, endurance fighting. Finishing blow. Yep, so we definitely had physical powers. So let me just go back and make sure. Let me find the original powers list so I can make sure I'm not giving the wrong abilities. All right, so we've got athletic, definitely. Deduction was under intellectual. So athletic, intellectual, gadgets was under technology. All right, so red, when things are, what was deduction under? That was under information, intellectual. Intellectual. All right, self-control, technology. All right, so let's go with something under technology, combustion. All right, final wrath. Take a major twist. Ooh, that's tough. Ultimate weaponry, unload. Yeah, I think let's take technological powers. And we get 2. So let's go with unload. Attack multiple targets using your gadgets. All right, so we're going to go with unload. All right, we'll get the little fist out here. Unload. Attack using gadgets. Page 109. And then one more power. Do we need some type of, let's see, information, critical eye. Discern weakness. Information quality. I don't think I have an information quality. Self-control powers, mobility powers, hallmark powers, intellectual powers. Give time. Reliable aptitude. Unerring strike. Let's see, intellectual powers. Did we have an intellectual power? Yeah, deduction. So let's go ahead and use intellectual powers. Let's go with an innate ability, because I don't think we have any of those. Which means that's always on. So reliable aptitude. And taking any action using a power, you may re-roll your min die before determining effects. So let's see. Maybe we'll say when using deduction. That could work with his principle of the powerless. Yep, so we'll say deduction. And this is on page 107. Okay. And that is step 5 for the red abilities. Next up, last but not least, is step 6. So step 6 is retcon. So you're almost done. Maybe there's something that's not quite right. That's what the retcon part is about. You can tweak your hero's origin story in a subtle way. For you as the creator of the hero, you can do one of the following things. Oh, I forgot. Let's go back. For his personality, we're going to put Lone Wolf. That's what we rolled. So we'll put Lone Wolf. And then the top of the character sheet, it has player, hero name, alias, physical attributes. It's got a picture here for you to draw your hero. So this is kind of where once you kind of map out all the little details, how you want your hero to look, gender, age, height, eyes, that you use that section to fill all that out. All right, back to step 6, retcon. So basically, you can swap any 2 dice within your powers. So let's say after we built this guy, we're like, well, strength D6 is kind of low. I don't really want it to be that low. You can swap them. Swap any 2 dice within your qualities. Same here. Choose a different power or quality used in one of your abilities. So for example, I've chose like something from the physical ability, so I could swap it and say, instead of strength, I want this to be something else. Add any D6 power or quality from any category. So I could just go add a D6 power from someplace else. Increase your red status die by 1 size, maximum to D12. So I could change this to be a D10 once we get to red status. change either of my principles. I could change any of these that I wanted to, or I can gain an extra red ability. So those red abilities that we looked at before, if there was another one in a different category, I would get it. But for simplicity's sake, let's just say, hey, we retconned. Let's make our red go from a D8 to a D10. So he's even more prepared when it's in the red status and things are getting intense. Next is step 7, your health. So let's see how much health we get. Add up the 8 following numbers. All right, so 8 plus the maximum value of your red status die, which is a 10. So that leads us to 18. The maximum value of any of your athletic powers or mental qualities. So I have a mental quality of deduction. No, athletic power. So it's going to be strength. Deduction is under intellectual. That's not under the quality. So my strength is, my agility is 8. So we've got 8 plus 10 is 18. Plus 8 more for agility is 26. Then roll a d8, or I can take a 4. So I'm at 26, so I can either make it 30, or I can roll a d8 and hope that I get a 4 or higher. So 26, we'll roll the d8 for fun to see. So no, 29. So 29 would be his health. And then you'd go look at this health quick reference chart. So 29. So that means when my health is from 29 to 23, I'm in green. So I put 29 to 23, I'm in green. 22 to 11, I'm in yellow. And then 10 to 1, I'm in the red. And then your current health you would put here. So currently it would be 29. And if all your health is depleted, then you're out. You're not necessarily dead. It depends on you and the GM, but you can't actively contribute other than doing your out skill. So for my out, the role was to use my determined to assist an ally. Okay, let's see. So that is health. And finishing touches. Yep, just going through your heroes, describing your attributes. We talked about that being 5'11", middle age, gender, however you want your hero to look. And that's it. That is how you create a hero. So you can see, using the guided method with random rolls, we were able to come up with a Batman-like character. Strong deduction, gadgets, and agility for his powers. Good at close combat, good at ranged combat, imposing, stealth, determined. And along with his power set that you can use to do your abilities. So the game has scenes. If you think of the game as like a comic book issue and there's different scenes. So when your health is in the green, so as long as he's above 23 health, he can use just the green abilities. When he gets hurt, the yellow abilities kick in. More hurt, the red abilities kick in. And then out, you can only use your out ability. So that's how these abilities are broken down and come into play. The same thing goes for a scene. So as you're fighting the villains or doing the background, the scene and the environment will get more and more dire. So the scene starts off in green, and then the scene goes to yellow, and then the scene goes to red. So whichever happens first. So if you're at full health, but the scene is in red, and it's like, the countdown on the bomb is down to 3 seconds, the scene's in red. Even though you're still in green, you could use all your powers because the scene is in red. So whichever is greater. And that's pretty much how the guided character creation goes. For Sentinel Comics RPG, I really like this game. It kind of brings a superhero flavor to it during role play because you have to kind of describe your actions. The powers are very abstract. So when you're telling what your hero's doing, you're not saying I'm doing elemental assault, right? You have like your power gloves, you attack it with your power fists, you jump out from the shadows, grab the character, you use your web shooters. You have to kind of describe what your character is doing versus just saying I attack with web shooters or I attack with batarang. So it really brings a lot of flavor to the role playing experience. Okay, I think that's it. I just wanted to do a little video about how to create a character for Sentinel Comics RPG. I think all this stuff that I have is still on Amazon. I know this is. So I'll put some links in the descriptions below. I have character sheets for the game. I've got the GM screen, which is, it comes in, I think it came in this game moderator kit. I actually got this a long time ago, so I don't quite remember, but game moderator kit has a GM screen and all that stuff, which really talks about like the basic actions and the twists. It actually comes with a really good GM screen, how minions are used, lieutenants, things like that, and of course the art on it is that classic kind of golden age art look. It looks good though. I like it. All right, I think we're gonna wrap it up. If you enjoyed it and liked what you saw, please like the video, subscribe, leave comments below if you play Sentinel Comics RPG or if you tried it out. It's kind of a niche RPG. I don't usually come across a lot of people who have played it, but it's definitely enjoyable. I've played a few sessions of it, and I have it ranked very highly as one of my #1 superhero RPGs. All right, thanks for watching.